Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your mayor of this glorious place, and I'm joined by my vice mayor coming to you live from a secret location in the Tacoma, Seattle area. It's the one and only, Thunderstick? Are we still going with Thunderstick? Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
I was like, did you forget my name?
No,
I only missed one show. My gosh.
Like the Thunderstick. Wow, I'm impressed it stuck this long. But how you doing, pal? How's everything going for you?
I'm honestly amazed it stuck this long too. You pulled out Thunderstick I think our first or second show. And I guess I'm just too nice of a guy to dispute anything like that.
What,
So
you
it's
think
just
I
kinda
called
stuck
myself
till
the
now.
mayor? You think I gave myself that nickname?
I absolutely think you gave yourself that nickname. Weren't you were the mayor of something else with one of your wrestling shows
Reseda.
or something?
I'm the mayor of Reseda, California,
Okay.
too. Yes, that's a whole other story. But of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use our code of PHNX and get down on the NBA playoffs action. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You win no matter what at the DraftKings Sportsbook. But there are no winners today in the D-backs Nationals game, Jesse, because that game has been rained out and postponed until tomorrow, where we'll have a doubleheader. So it apparently gave the Arizona Diamondbacks a chance to kind of move their rotation around. Any thoughts on this game happening and the Diamondbacks using this opportunity to do so at this point of the season?
Yeah, they've kind of shuffled things around a little bit. It feels like usually it involves something to do with Zach Gallen, just given his very bizarre start to the season. So yeah, there's some moving parts there once again. But yeah, the Diamondbacks have had a lot of off days. It feels like too many off days.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're about to play, I think, 19 games in the next 18 days because of the doubleheader tomorrow. So they're going to make up for it pretty quickly, for better or worse.
I'm pretty sure since opening day, the D-backs lead the league in days off already, which is just...
They probably do, yeah.
Kind of odd considering that it's not really balanced, right? I mean, even their series up front against the Astros going 2 games, having a day off between their opening series and then another day off doesn't make too much sense. However, that wasn't the way that the season was supposed to open up, so it kind of made a bit more sense after the Diamondbacks opened up the season on the road against Milwaukee originally before the lockout impacted the schedule.
Well, somebody's got to say it, Derek. At least they lead the league in something, right?
Oh, you son of a bitch. Good. Well done. Well done. But hey, they were rained out today, and I wanted to ask you, rainy day activities, either now or as a kid, what were some of your favorite rainy day activities? You're a teacher, so you still got to deal with this at times, right? Well, high school kids, they just stay inside and text, I imagine, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we have school off if it's rainy outside, but nothing really changes. And
they don't have recess in high school anymore. That's true.
No, they don't have recess. So not much really changes. But yeah, I mean, obviously here in Seattle it rains basically all the time. It's pouring rain right now. It's been raining the entire day. So currently, to me, it doesn't really feel like anything special is happening when it's raining outside. But when I lived in Arizona, of course, all the time, if it ever rains, you just have to be outside. I feel like
yes,
my parents and their patio, they have like a screened in patio. And so it was a lovely place to just hang out and listen to the rainfall and watch the rainfall in our backyard.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like you have to eat soup. Like you have to eat something hot, even if it's like a summer monsoon.
All right.
It just somehow that still works. But I don't know. I mean, I never really did anything super, super crazy other than just like getting outside and shooting hoops or something with some friends.
My wife will cancel all plans if it rains just so that she can open up the house and lay under a blanket on the couch and watch the rainfall. That's one of her favorite things in the entire world. And it's such a rarity here in Phoenix. I'm sure if we lived in Seattle, she would have her fill of it in 6 months. But heads up, 7-Up is what I'm going with, Jesse. Heads up
Okay.
7-Up in elementary school. That's what I knew rainy days meant for me as a child, and I was with it. I wasn't a peeker. I don't cheat in Heads Up 7-Up, but I'm good at it. I know I can detect the feel of who would, pick you in that game. I just
Sure.
wonder now when I think of that, I wonder if it makes me sound 1,000 years old, because I imagine that there are much more productive ways to keep kids busy during like a recess that they have to stay inside than Heads Up 7-Up. I'm pretty sure I asked my daughter this question and she didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. So that made me sad. And once again, makes me feel 1,000 years old. But yeah, this upcoming schedule that the Diamondbacks have now is insane. As far like you said, 19
Yeah.
games in 18 days. They have this this series coming up against the Nationals that has now impacted their rotation, possibly for the better, possibly for what Torey Lovullo may have wanted to do with Zach Gallen, like you said, as far as getting him into the correct position in the rotation. But yeah, just seems a bit daunting as far as like not having an off day to travel. There's a lot of days where they travel and then they have to play that essentially that same day or the next day. So I don't know. Do you think the scheduling has been the same as it has been in the past? I feel like in the past that they actually had those days spaced out a little bit better when they went on road trips and came back and such.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a road trip from, New York to DC, which isn't particularly far. And of course, the team took a train
Oh yeah.
rather than
Yeah, I'm
flying,
not
which is
talking
kind of
about
fun.
yeah, I'm not talking about the New York DC thing. And yeah, that was really cool. Of course, they had to put a picture of David Peralta up. I just meant
Right.
more of like the traveling from like DC back to Arizona and then having to play. And
Oh,
those kind of some of those longer travel days that they're gonna have
yeah.
in regards to going back and forth between home stands and road trips.
Yeah, I mean, it is an afternoon game on, this Thursday, so I think that probably helps a little bit. It's like a local 1:10 PM start in DC, which I guess is 10:10 AM, brunch with the Diamondbacks again coming on
Again,
Thursday.
that's right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty used to it. Just, that getaway day afternoon game is a pretty common thing around baseball, so, I mean, this is what they do for a living. I think they'll be okay.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. They'll be fine. They're
They'll be
baseball
fine.
players. They're big boys. Well, I don't know if they'll be fine. I don't know. I don't know if the offense will be fine. You can say that all you want, but I question
Mm.
that. And of course, Jesse is breaking down and analyzing exactly what is going on with the offense. So make sure to check out his piece coming up on gophnx.com. If you're not already a member, sign up to become a member over there, and you can get your annual membership which will get you a free t-shirt over at phnxlocker.com. Annual membership will cost you $60. Free t-shirt at phnxlocker.com makes it that much more enticing, that much better of an offer. And you can pick out whatever t-shirt you like. We have our brand new Valley Sicko design for the Suns shirts. And by the way, a lot of
Pretty
people
cool.
haven't seen the origin story for that video and or for that whole saying, the sicko thing about Chris Paul being a sicko. Check that out because it's very funny. It's Chris Paul inventing the 3 for 2 essentially and explaining that to a younger generation of basketball players. But again, if you're not already a member, sign up to become a member. If you're not interested in the annual membership, you can get the month-to-month membership, and you'll get your first month for just 50 cents. Members, regardless of your status, will get members only discounts over at the phnxlocker.com. You also get access to our members only Discord, where you can join us and demanding that Josh Hunt works on our bingo game so that we can give away some prizes and have some fun with this
Is
Diamondback
that
season.
officially Josh Hunt's responsibility
That's his
creating
job
the
now.
bingo
Yeah,
game?
we're
Okay.
putting him in charge of that. So that's what's
Okay.
happening with that. And I don't know. I think that it still remains to be seen. I have no idea, Jesse, why I have any optimism for this team going forward at this point. I'm going to continue to call it foolish optimism, but I just feel like this is going to be one of those situations where things fall into place for this team, and they, as crazy as this sounds, go on one of those like, oh, they're the best team in baseball right now, kind of, you know, stretches
Wow.
for a little bit. who knows if it's going to happen? I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but it feels like just because they have put together so many things that feel like they're, coming along, right? The starting rotation has put up some pretty good numbers. As you've suggested, they're not
It's not.
probably
Don't buy it.
sustainable. Don't
Don't
buy
set
into
yourself
it.
up for disappointment.
Well, and looking at this upcoming series with the Nationals, the D-backs, this might be one series where the D-backs actually have the advantage when it comes to the starting rotation, right? The matchups seem favorable for the D-backs, and but the D-backs did slide Tyler Gilbert in to replace Merrill Kelly in Game 2 on Tuesday. Merrill Kelly will be moved back to Game 3, which is when he would have started anyway. So Tyler Gilbert's just kind of sliding in and making the spot start, but that does enable them to push everybody back a day. Zach Davies will finish out the series against the Nationals, and then Zach Gallen, who was supposed to start Game 4 against the Nationals, will now be pushed back to Game 1 of the series versus the Mets at Chase Field, which now that spot start by Gilbert essentially moves Gallen back to the number 1 spot in the rotation for the D-backs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how significant it is, like, what number you are at this point in the season. It's all just kind of a random
matchups, though, right? I mean, at one point there is going to be where it lines up with
I mean,
other teams.
Once you get to a certain point in the season, though, there have been enough like off days and just random things that have happened that your number 1 isn't really in the number 1 slot, or at least like when your number 1 lines up with someone else's number 1, they're not necessarily like the ace of each staff. But yeah, I want to touch on the pitching real quick because this weekend only exacerbated the problem that I've been talking about lately, where even though Diamondbacks pitchers the end results have been decent. This team right now, Derek, is at about 6 Ks per 9, which is extraordinarily low. Like that is very, very low. And they're at almost.
And Merrill Kelly's the one that's towing the load there. And Merrill Kelly isn't historically even a strikeout pitcher. He's typically ground ball, pitch to contact kind of guy.
Yeah. And on the flip side, they are at almost 5 walks per 9, which is incredibly high. So I'm just saying, and I think yesterday in the Humberto Castellanos game, as a team, I don't have it pulled up right now, but I believe they had 6 walks and 2 strikeouts. Like, you're just not going to survive as a pitching staff. Even if the end results are sort of okay, they kind of stayed in the game, at least from a pitching standpoint. It wasn't like it was a blowout on Sunday, but there's some reasons to be skeptical of the limited success that the pitching staff has had so far. And I think there's also some reasons to be optimistic about the offensive side of things, how this offense is, I don't think nearly as bad as what we've seen so far. So it definitely goes both ways, but I think I would just be a little bit skeptical on both sides right now. I don't think the offense is this bad, and I don't think the pitching staff, unfortunately, is as good as we've seen so far.
Yeah, that's a great point. And obviously, the other thing about the changes to the pitching line rotation, at least, is this is more about not necessarily needing to move Zach Davies and Zach Gallen up a day, which is more what would have happened had they kept everybody in the same spot in the rotation. So it's not necessarily like a move to get Zach Gallen to that number 1 spot, but it does do that. It does help them get Gallen back to where he would have been had he been healthy when the season started and started on opening day.
He'll be facing Josh Rogers, it looks like, who I don't really know who the Nationals' number 1 starter is. I don't think they really have one. I believe Patrick Corbin was their opening day starter, but he's certainly not. I don't think he's the best starter on that team. So yeah, I don't know if Zach Gallen is really lining up with other teams' best pitchers, but I guess we'll have to wait and see exactly how many times that happens.
Well, again, he will start in Game 1 of the Mets series, and I'm not sure, but that might end up being against Max Scherzer. So that
wait, again, do they have Gallen slotted for the first game against the Mets?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Zach Gallen's been moved out of the series against the Nationals altogether.
We'll have to confirm on MLB.com right now. I have Zach Gallen starting Thursday against the Nationals.
I corrected that on our Twitter account because Jody Jackson actually had what the pitching rotation is going to be for the Nationals. I think MLB.com just didn't update it
Just didn't update it.
because
Okay,
of the
gotcha.
double header and everything like that. But yeah, my original assumption was that Merrill Kelly got scratched, which kind of worried me a bit because I didn't think it was due to
Sure.
injury, but it looked like Merrill Kelly had just kind of been pushed out of uh, the series altogether, and that didn't seem like a good move since Merrill Kelly is by far our best pitcher right now in our
So
rotation.
far. Well, Zach Gallen's been pretty good too. I
Zach
think
Gallen
they.
has been damn good. And
It
okay,
was
like
just the
what you
4
said about
innings though, so
Humberto Castellanos had like one of the weirdest outings of the year, I think, for the D-backs because
yeah.
he did. It, I said this about the Suns game last night. Like 10 minutes into the Suns game, it felt like the Suns should have been up 100 points on the Pelicans, right? It just felt that way.
Yeah.
It felt like the D-backs should have been down 5 runs with Castellanos out there, but somehow he was able to get out of it and stay, keep runs off the board. He gave them 4 scoreless innings, and that's exactly what they needed out of him in the spot start,
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely, I'm certainly not wanting to like take any credit away from guys who have, fought through outings where maybe they didn't have their best stuff. Like
Sure.
at the end of the day, we all know that the number of runs on the board is what matters. And the fact that Castellanos managed to put up a 0 over 4 innings is huge.
Right.
What I'm talking about is more like, the future, like how, looking at the team's stats from a pitching standpoint. There's some reasons to be skeptical that they can continue to do that down the road. But yeah, to this point, I mean, good on guys like Humberto for, fighting through a start where maybe he didn't have his best stuff and working around some of those walks early on.
Okay, so looking at this series with the Nationals, I stressed on yesterday's show that in all fairness, I know it's early. I know it's a small sample size. I know I've even said I'm foolishly optimistic. But if the Diamondbacks don't have a good showing against a at least equally bad team in the
Yeah.
Nationals, I think it's time that we smash that panic button, Jesse. I don't even know if it's panic. I think it would just be
Yeah. It's not really panic. It's just
subtle
like, yeah, here we are
disappointment
again.
in the situation that we knew we were probably going to be in.
Right. Yeah, I mean the Nationals are 4-7. They're not a very good baseball team, especially on the pitching side. I mean, we all know what Juan Soto can do with the bat. They do have some offensive pieces. Michael Franco has also had a really, really good season for them out of nowhere. So there's some offensive pieces there that I think can be good. But yeah, overall, this is not a very good baseball team. And the Diamondbacks are finally getting an opportunity to play a team that isn't like world class. It's felt like a pretty rough start to the season for them in terms of their opponents, the Padres, the Astros, then the Mets. Those are all 3 pretty darn good baseball teams. And yeah, finally the Nationals are not that. And so, they have an opportunity to show what they can do. And if they can find a way to take 3 out of 4 or something, that would be a big step for them.
And I will say, Charles Woodall Pike in our comments says, smash the panic button that broke last year. Yeah, we hit it a lot last year
We
during
need a
some
repairman on the panic button.
lost like some streaks and it was bad. It was a forgettable season, and that's why we're proud to partner with our friends at OG's Gummies that help us forget things that we don't want to remember. If you guys don't know already about OGs and their wonderful edibles that you can get, they are good people that make amazing scratch-made THC's gummies. Our PHNX fam here in Phoenix obviously is a Phoenix-based business, and so is OGs, and we love the fact that we can partner together with them. OG's gummies are absolutely phenomenal. We had a chance to go out to the Buds Palooza Fest, hang out with them. Jesse, you'd be proud of me. I sampled the non-medicated flavors just to try them out. They were just candy, Jesse. They were just candy, and they were delicious. And again, they taste exactly like they do when you get them from OGs with the medicated samples inside of them or the medication inside of them. So if you're interested in trying the amazingly delicious variety of flavors that OG's Brands has to offer, go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com to find OG's nearest you. Looks like this, and they're wonderful. And you can get them pretty much anywhere here in the Valley. So go check those out. And, remember what Derek says. You can take them, you can't untake them. So go slow and dose slowly. Jesse, I'm ready to play some games. Again, we're trapped with a rain day. We got a rain delay, and I am ready to play a game that our friends over at the Sun Devils show played the other day, which is a little game we call Who's That? So Jesse, what we have here is 4 silhouette profile pictures of
my gosh,
Arizona Diamondbacks front office members.
Oh my gosh. Is this supposed to be possible? Like, am I supposed to be able to do this?
I don't know, but you know what's funny is I also don't know who these individuals are. So I have no idea myself. I don't know. Emma is the only one in this room right now who knows who these people are, and she has the answers. So it's up to you and I to guess about front office personnel. You ready to do this or what?
I'm ready as all ever. Wait, so we can't even find out if we're right?
Well, no, we'll find out if we're right. Emma's got the answer.
Emma's here. Emma's here.
Yeah, Emma's
okay.
here.
Right.
She's with us. Right. Let's go with spot 1. Let's get a guess from you on spot 1.
Oh, I wanted spot 2. Right. Spot 2, I think I actually know.
Okay, go.
Spot 1, I have no. Spot 2, I can go spot 2?
Yeah, go spot 2.
Okay. Spot 2 is Gonzo. That's not very difficult.
Is that Gonzo? Yeah, that looks like Gonzo. That looks like Gonzo to me. I like that.
He has a pretty distinctive like face shape. Like it's kind of like a long sort of it's just you can tell. And his hair is like, you know, it's like kind of has like a nice fuzz to it, sort of, and you can see the fuzziness on the top of his head. So
I feel like you're insulting the man now, but that's fine. I mean, that's okay. Yeah. Okay.
You can't insult Gonzo. You can't insult Gonzo. All right. Who do you think the person?
I'm not going to disagree with you on Gonzo. I'll take on spot 1. Oh boy, that looks like Derek Hall.
Okay.
No, I'm getting an ant.
That's wrong.
No, I'm getting it. I got a buzz. I'm guessing Gonzo was right. Do we got a ding on Gonzo? Yeah. Ding. All right, we got a ding on Gonzo. So that was Gonzo.
Okay.
Is that possibly Ken Kendrick in spot 1? Oh man, I got 2 buzzers. Jesse, you got any guesses for spot 1?
Spot 1, I am honestly pretty lost. I mean, there's like not like it's the most generic. Just like there's.
Right, I'll give you a hint for spot 1.
Okay.
I don't know if this helps. I don't know if you guys would even know this, but they were a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy with a degree in computer science.
Absolutely nothing. Computer science. Is it Mike Fitzgerald?
Good on the first name.
Is it Mike Chipman?
It is. Ding, ding,
Mike
ding.
Chipman.
Okay.
All right.
I would not have. I don't think I ever would have gotten that one.
Yeah, no, not in a million years. Not in a million years.
Spot 3 though. Spot 3, I think I got.
Who you got?
Spot 3, I think is JJ Putz.
Ding!
Hey! All right.
Jesse's pretty good at this game. JJ Putz.
Well, I took the obvious
special
one.
Assistant to the president and CEO.
There you go. Spot 4, I have a guess, but I'll let you go first, Derek.
Is that Amiel?
Ding!
Yay!
Yep, that was my guess too.
All right.
Hey! All right.
Look at those. Well, I struggled with that first one, but we did all right.
Mike Chipman, that was tough. That was pretty tough.
Oh yeah, but hey, that's a good front office crew right there. That's not bad.
There you go.
See, we did all right. We know our stuff. People question our knowledge of this team. Yep. See, no, you were wrong. D Hall was not one of them for sure. Yeah. See, thank you.
That was a good guess. That was a good guess.
Yeah. Hey, you know, they definitely threw me for a loop with Mike Chipman. That's a deep cut as far as front office people are concerned. But I think people would be surprised if they knew like how many employees there are in the Diamondbacks front office. There's crazy. A lot of them. There's a lot of them. It's not just like Mike Hazen and his like 2 or 3, you know, guys up top that work in the front office. Right. There's an army
of guys who have different roles and analytics and all of the different scouting things. And there's a lot that it takes in order to run a Major League Baseball organization.
It takes a village to run a baseball team, doesn't it?
It does.
It really
yes.
does. Well,
yes.
yeah, and you're right, because when I sometimes go to these events, kind of like the food and beverage preview that they had, there was a lot of people there, like from the organization. And you start looking around and you have no idea what any of these people do, but they all have a vital role in somewhere in the organization, but they're all mostly dressed alike in Diamondbacks polo and and whatnot. And it's amazing how many people it truly takes to run this team. Now, how many people though does it take to turn the offense around, Jesse? That's the bigger question.
I don't know if we're getting an answer to that anytime soon.
Do you still have any question or any answers for me on Torey Lovullo's prohibition stance of less beer is somehow more?
Oh, yeah, I know that's a big topic right now on Diamondbacks Twitter, and understandably so. Seth Beer, I looked it up. Seth Beer this season is 2 for 5 against lefties. He hasn't gotten much of an opportunity, but 2 for 5. I mean, if you read anything into small sample sizes, 2 for 5 is not bad. That's actually quite good. So, Torey Lovullo's not keeping him out for that reason. So I don't know. I really don't understand either. I'm with everyone who's trying to figure out why he's been held out of the lineup so much. We know that Torey is kind of a loyalist type, and he's not going to displace people who have been in their roles for a long time before giving them a lot of opportunity to right the ship. And it's a little bit weird though, because I don't really feel like anyone had a firm grasp on the DH spot before Seth Beer. He is really the best fit for that role. And I think we all know that and have known that for a long time, right? All of those questions we got over the offseason, who's going to be the DH for the Diamondbacks? Seth Beer was kind of the most obvious guy.
That was a lot of people's suggestions. Yep, for sure.
Yeah. And now that he's here and he's hitting well, and he's frankly the only player on this team who has a serviceable batting line after a week of games, it doesn't make sense why he's being held out. I don't think the versus lefties thing makes any sense. He hit lefties in the minors. He's hit lefties in the very small sample of opportunity that he's gotten this season. We need to see Seth Beer in the lineup more every day, and I think fans are in agreement on that. And I suspect that Torey will probably move that direction just a little bit more slowly than all of us probably want him to.
I have a theory.
What's your theory?
My theory is I think it's because Seth Beer's still a young player.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I also think that there is this high demand for him to be this hero for the team, right? And that puts a lot of unnecessary, unwarranted pressure on a baseball player, hypothetically. Right. It's all based on the person. The pressure is a fictitious thing, right? It's something that you mentally take on, but it still exists, and it's still something that could be put on a young player. And that's what we've seen already, because you've seen how in these situations, people like myself, people like you, we all instantly think like, why isn't Seth in the lineup? As if he was in the lineup, he was going to automatically go 4 for 4 with 2 home runs and 6 RBI and win the game single-handedly for the team, right? The bigger problem I have still is this team-wide epidemic of them all having an issue hitting. You wrote about the 9 hits in game 2 against the Mets being the season high, and they look like they really started to put things together. Now, Sunday in New York, it was a windy day. I think that's why Castellanos had so many problems with his stuff as far as his movement on his pitches and his control in the strike zone. But, that's still no excuse for this team not being able to muster up any kind of offense, any kind of run support in any way, right? I just don't think immediately blaming Seth Beer for not being in the lineup is the answer. Just like I don't think there's people that already want Joe Mather's head on a stake over that's hitting. And it's like, well, I mean, on one hand, this is the same issues that they had in long stretches last season. So it's not like these issues just came up out of nowhere. And 2, we've already discussed how much more patient that they've been at the plate. I don't know where they're currently at, but I put that my funny Homer Simpson 420 joke about them having the most pitches or taking the most
right.
pitches
It's
per plate appearance at
4.20,
right? So like
yeah.
they really are being much more patient at the plate, and that's something they absolutely weren't doing. It's just kind of baffling that it's not translating over into success in a different way other than a lot of walks.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
they
I
didn't even
think
do
you're
in the Mets
absolutely
game.
No, they didn't. But I think you're right that like the problems with the Diamondbacks offense goes much deeper than Seth Beer, is being held out of a game every 2 or 3 days, right? I mean, at some point you need the guys that have been there for a while to really start hitting, and that's really been the biggest issue so far for this team. But I still remain optimistic about most of those guys. Cattell can hit. David Peralta, maybe David Peralta is not going to have the breakout season that a lot of people thought he might after the adjustments that he made, but maybe he still will. I mean, after the number of games that we've seen so far, I mean, the Diamondbacks have played 9 so far as we record right now. And that's not nearly a big enough sample size to really say anything about anyone's season. So there's still so much time for these guys to be able to turn things around. And like you said, seeing that many pitches in their plate appearances is something that is probably going to pay dividends eventually. And the approach has been good, and I think the results will follow hopefully pretty soon.
I know what they need, Jesse.
What do they need?
Gummies. No.
There you go.
Athletic Greens. That's what they need.
Oh,
Athletic
okay.
Greens.
Okay.
I picked the wrong sponsor. Athletic Greens is what they need. It could be like Michael's Secret stuff in NBA and Space Jam.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Because I've been using our friends over at Athletic Greens personally, and I have again confessed how bad of a job I do of taking care of myself. I do not take care of myself. Luckily, I have Athletic Greens to take care of me. They've helped me with a bunch of issues I had personally with heartburn and like some issues with my esophagus. But I mean, mostly it's just absorbing their 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start my day right and help you start your day right. And I've been taking it every day, Jesse, ever since we've partnered up with them. And it's awesome, man. I can't lie. I've been feeling better, and mostly because, again, like I said, I don't take care of myself in any way, shape, or form. So now it's like my body's getting the nutrition it needs, and I'm sitting here happy about how I actually feel good. But yeah, it does support better quality and recovery. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews, and it costs you at the end of the day less than $3. Plus, you're investing in your health. And what's better to invest in than your health? Not Bitcoin, I'll tell you, because Bitcoin's going to do nothing but cause you a bunch of problems around tax time. Every transaction is like a property transaction. I have to fill out that on my taxes. Oh man, I'm pissed off about that, but I'm not pissed off about taking Athletic Greens. So to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Diamondbacks. That is athleticgreens.com/Diamondbacks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And that's exactly what it is. It's nutritional insurance, Jesse. But of course, we definitely do need to do whatever we can to help these hitters out. Athletic Greens, spinach, I don't care. Whatever, it's going to get them going. I did like the fact that they did have a picture posted of the freight train on a train. That was very that was like Inception, right? That was
that like the social media crew for the Diamondbacks was all over that the moment they found out they were traveling.
I would have had an entire video documentary on freight train on a train.
Honestly, they could have. Yeah, right. They absolutely could have.
I saw one picture. Come on, I need more than that. But I imagine it was fun for them. It was probably a bonding experience. I mean, it's not much different than a long flight, but again, trains are just I've been on a train. It's just different. It takes longer to get there. You can get up and walk around. I imagine they had a good time, and hopefully more than anything, they get a chance to just relax, because really at the end of the day, it's when you talk about the offensive woes, it feels like everybody is just pressing too hard and everybody is just trying to do too much to be the savior of this team. Ketel Marte looks much comfortable at the plate, much more comfortable at the plate than he has, and it's translated over into some success for him.
He looked great. I didn't watch the game yesterday, but I watched the game on Saturday, and he looked noticeably more comfortable at the plate, which was really, really big to see that. I know some people were a little bit worried that, he's got the big contract now, so maybe this is where his production starts to nosedive. That's not something I ever really bought into, and I think we're going to start to see Ketel look more like Ketel over these next few weeks, which is hopefully going to start something for this Diamondbacks team and get this offense going into a groove. You kind of feel like once one guy like really figures it out, once you get like one or two guys who are really going well, I think it's just going to take the pressure off of the entire offense. And then suddenly, you've got a chain reaction of players being able to just kind of settle in and find themselves. So hopefully Ketel can be the guy who steps up and is able to maintain what he had going the other day.
Bam in our comments asked thoughts about Perdomo's struggles so far.
Yeah,
I mean, he was getting on base a lot, but he has really struggled at the plate as far as hitting is concerned. And I mean, I don't think the Diamondbacks have another option at this point. So
no, I mean, really, Nick Ahmed is probably not far away, so
yeah,
it might not be long before they do have another option. But so far, yeah, I mean, he's kind of the guy you roll with over there for most games at least.
I wonder if when we get these guys back, like Luplo and Rojas and Ahmed, if they can be some sort of spark to this team. God knows Josh Rojas can. Josh Rojas will go out and fight someone, and he'll get the team sparked that way, whatever he needs to do. But I really think that Nick Ahmed, even though he has never been a big source of offense for this team, could surprisingly be like some sort of stabilizer.
I mean, what's crazy is like Nick Ahmed just having an average Nick Ahmed season
like
would be that would be like a well above average performance for where this team is at right now. They don't need someone to come in and hit 300 with a 1,000 OPS in order to help turn things around. I do want to go back to the Perdomo question though, because I think that's a pivotal one for this season, right? I think this is the year where the Diamondbacks would love to move in the direction of having Geraldo Perdomo turn into like a real everyday guy. And so far, he hasn't really looked like he's ready for that. And that's something that I think was, totally a possible outcome for this season. Perdomo had a pretty good few games at the end of last year when he got called back up at the end of the season, which gave people a lot of optimism going into this year, gave me a lot of optimism going into this year. But so far, he looks like he's trying to walk. Right when he goes up to the plate, he looks like he's trying to walk. He has a good patient at bat, but when push comes to shove and a reliever's pumping 98 miles an hour down the middle and he has no choice but to swing at it. So far, Perdomo has not shown the ability to hit that, and I think that's been a concern with him for a while. He's a patient hitter. He's gonna draw his walks, but when push comes to shove, can he actually hit major league quality stuff? And to this point in the season, the answer has been no, right? He hasn't really shown the ability to do that yet. But he's also 22 years old. And I think there's some room there for him to flounder a little bit out of the gate and then hopefully figure things out eventually.
Jesse, I'm going to give you some bands that have had more hits than the Arizona Diamondbacks. A Flock of Seagulls have had more hits than the Diamondbacks. Black Box, Bonnie Tyler, Terrence Trent D'Arby. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. These are all people that have more hits than the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sister Sledge definitely has more hits than the Diamondbacks. The Knack, I love the Knack. The Knack is great. Bananarama, Talking Heads. These are jokes, of course, but the Diamondbacks are so bad. I'm actually confident. The offense is so bad. I talked about this yesterday. Jesse, the computers over at DraftKings Sportsbook They don't know. I mean, yeah, there's people there working there, but the computers, they think, oh, the Diamondbacks have 2 on with no outs. There's definitely a run getting scored. I knew there wasn't a run getting scored, so I had a chance to jump in on the DraftKings live betting.
Did you bet against them scoring a run?
No, I bet against no. I just bet against any run scoring in that inning at all. It wasn't specifically against the Diamondbacks. It was just I was confident that no runs were going to score, no matter.
And you
get
a decent payout because there were first and second.
Exactly,
and so
because typically with nobody on, the odds are kind of still bad, because they're like, yeah, nobody's on. But the more people that get on, especially with the fewer outs, like no outs, like the Diamondbacks were in, the odds were pretty good. Plus 170 is what I was able to get on the inning in order to bet against that. And guess what? It made me money because I knew that they weren't going to score. But and that's the beautiful part about the DraftKings Sportsbook. You can use that app to do bet whatever you want and in whatever way you want. Use your knowledge to your advantage over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers right now can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You win no matter what over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Also, existing customers like ourselves can get down on same game parlays. Great offer right now. Each day of the first round, you'll get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same game parlay doesn't hit. Bet the Suns, baby. Suns to the moon. That's what I did yesterday. I missed because Mikal Bridges didn't get enough points, but I got my $10 back in a free bet. So again, get down on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code PHNX. New customers, you guys can bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the first round of the playoffs, and you will get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over only, Arizona only. Gambling problem, dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And that's all I got, Jesse. We're not rained out here. We are indoors. It's beautiful outside. You're rained out where you're at, but of course, that's Seattle. We thank you guys so much for checking out the show. Tell Jesse to move here. Hit him up on Twitter. He is at Jesse N. Friedman. Tell him to get his ass to Phoenix where it never rains. I am Derek Montilla. I am at Cap_Kman with a K. Also occasionally known as the mayor of Reseda, as Jesse pointed out earlier. But you can get our show at PHNX_DBacks. And of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, please subscribe to us there and leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel and sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss any of our content. Whatever time of the day we go, we do our live shows typically after the last game of each series. We start about 10 minutes after the final out. So that's where you'll find us on those days. But of course, if you sign up for notifications, you won't miss those shows or any of the other shows coming out from our PHNX crew. Our man Shane is wild and crazy, and his shit show is one of my favorite things we do. Of course, you can find that and all the other content here at PHNX Sports. So we thank you guys again for checking out the show. We appreciate your time. On behalf of Jesse and myself, we know your time is valuable, so we thank you so much for spending it with us. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you bet on it.